that I'm even impressed with. No, what I mean by, I'll say something that I wasn't expecting to say like that. You know, and phrases that you use. You know, you talk about somebody's walk. You're actually talking about their gait. I can tell when something's wrong with them because their gait's off. And there are terms that you use that express something just another level. And we abuse ourselves in communication. Misused phrases. I got these because I knew you would enjoy them, okay? I want you to look at these. Okay. Let's do the first one. To be Pacific. Okay, should be instead of be specific. And a scapegoat. A lot of people have used that instead of a scapegoat. Okay? Nip it in the butt. That's not what it is. Instead of nip in the bud. Coleslaw. Now that's what we say down south. That's coleslaw. Instead of coleslaw. It's a doggy-dog world instead of dog-eat-dog world. Lactose and intolerant. That's awesome, isn't it? Instead of lactose intolerant. They got off scotch-free. Instead of they got off scot-free. To all intensive purposes. Instead of intense and purposes. Card shark.
I'm guilty on that one.
I've used that so many times.
Oh, that's it.
Instead of card shark.
No.
Here's one for you. Butt naked. I gotta ask you, how many of you have ever said that?
Oh, yeah.
It's butt naked. Hunger pains. All right, hunger pains. That's a good one. Instead of hunger pains. Tongue and cheek. Instead of tongue and cheek. It's a mute point. It's a moot point. Pass mustard. Instead of pass mustard. Just deserves. Instead of just deserves. Here's one for you. I could care less. What that means is you actually could care less. But that's the way we say it. I could care less. That's not the way you say it. It's I couldn't care less. Does that make sense? Okay. Biding my time. Instead of biding my time. Curled up in a feeble position. Instead of curled up in a feeble position.
They're both wrong.
That's right.
Yeah, they're both wrong.
Are they both wrong?
Look how it's spelled.
Well, they can't spell, but they can say it. Actually, that may have been me, dear. We'll get to the spelling aspect of it next month.
Language is beautiful.
Curb your enthusiasm. Curb your enthusiasm. Now, you're not trying to curb your enthusiasm. Heimlich maneuver. Instead of Heimlich maneuver. Just a couple more here. extractive revenge. We're going to extract revenge. Instead of exact revenge. As dust fell. Instead of as dusk fell. Last ditch effort. Instead of last ditch effort. Now, those are just to give you a couple of examples, and there's a whole lot of things that we just butcher the English language with. And it is true. Of course, we hear it, we're raised with it, it was given to us in that model, and we use it, and we don't know any difference. But I want to encourage you to say, people will laugh at you like you're laughing at that when you say that. People's perception of you is everything, and their perception is framed out of your language. How you present yourself, how you come up, the way you introduce yourself, the way you carry on a thought, the way you dismiss yourself. So conversation, I've got this here, conversation is given to empower you. Now, if I could help you understand the importance of conversation, its design is to actually empower you. That's the whole thing that we want to do here. We want you to be empowered by the tool that God's given you, which is your language. Now, come on, and those of you that are going to be a ministry or speaking, your language is your main tool.
Right.
It is. You're going to communicate to people, and you're going to have an impact on them by the way you present yourself. So it's a two-way street. Conversation must be selfless. Now this is conversation. Conversation must be selfless and not selfish.
Yes.
Have you ever talked to somebody and their conversation was selfish? They interrupted you. They took over everything. You couldn't get a word in edgewise. And then if you started, they'll interrupt you, what you're saying, to say what they're saying. And they do that. Most just want the other person to finish so they can say what they want to say. Okay? Our purpose for communication is to successfully deliver a message that gets a desired result. Now, listen to me. That takes planning. Sometimes you're going to go into something or a conversation. Think about it for a few moments. We're not used to doing that because we just, well, whatever, I just say what I want. But that's simply not true. There are people who will disqualify you like that based on your conversation, and they don't even know anything about you. But they feel like your conversation tells everything about you. Your vocabulary, your conversation, how you deal with it. But you've got to understand if you're going to have a conversation with somebody, you're going to have to learn what the term selfless means. And that is that you're showing interest in that person. You want to find out what that person feels, believes, is experiencing, and allow them to say it to its fullness so you can respond in a way that's beneficial to them and to you. And you'll find that when you do that, when they become more important to you than just you're waiting on my turn to give my opinion, when they feel they're that important, it is amazing how that endears them to you. They want to see you. I love talking to them. It was a great conversation. Well, it was all about me. Of course it was. I loved it. So our purpose in communication